Alright guys, we got the final spell for the structure deck for the Red Dragon Archfiend stuff. We got new synchros coming out, new stuff for like junk support, there's new WAD support, and Ogdo cards. So let's go ahead and kick it right off with the final spell. Let's see if it's actually any good. It says brought to you by Unleash. It better be good. Alright, so it's called Crimson and Gaia. It's a continuous spell card that says you can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. The first part says during your main phase you get to add a Red Dragon Archfiend or one card that mentions Crimson Gaia from your deck or graveyard return. Okay, so like the potential to add a lot of different things is pretty good, right? Second part is when your Red Dragon Archfiend declares an attack, you can change all monsters your opponent controls to face down defense was all. That actually makes it pretty good. And wait, this is a continuous too? So not only do you get a search, but whenever this declares an attack, they're all just getting wrecked that turn. Oh my gosh, it's actually pretty good. Now, if I remember correctly, like, it just attacks everything. I gotta double check. It's been so long, because it just says Red Dragon Archfiend, okay. But there's probably a lot of cards where it counts as Red Dragon Archfiend. You can even maybe use the assault mode, but anyways, if it attacks the defense position monster, you can destroy all of them anyways. So it's like a UTC before like UTC was crazy, and like, you know, the new one when it came out. Then once per turn during your end phase, you get to destroy all other monsters you control that didn't declare an attack. So there's like, I guess, that downside. Like I said, there's a lot of cards that will probably count as Red Dragon Archfiend, but if you could do maybe something with piercing, you could do some fun stuff with this. Does it attack everything? It just destroys all of them. So if it attacks one, it destroys them all, and since they're all in face down. Now, if this was like some sort of quick effect or something, this would be really good, but it has to be when it declares an attack. Should have been like, you know, once per turn during your turn. Like, that would actually be good, because UTC still arguably is way better, because you just do it instantly, right? And then you can also pop something, so I think it's got a little bit more play, but because this already searches out anything, that's actually pretty good. But next up, the third part says, if a monster or monsters on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Red Dragon Archfiend from your graveyard. Okay, so literally you can attack something and then bring out another card, and then maybe this Red Dragon Archfiend. Is the third effect once per turn? Oh, it's all their effects are once per turn. Okay, if you can get this effect more than once, then that'd be insane. But the deck can definitely already OTK. I've covered this, like, even before I got its new support, the deck was definitely able to OTK. Okay, so these ones are coming out in this year, I guess, the V-Jump Fall promo cards. Now, apparently there's no artwork for them, but they are revealing the effects. Okay, so it's not like Rush Duel, right? Anyways, Junk Dragonlet, which is a Earth Machine effect. Level 5, 2100 attack, 1800 defense points. It says that you can only special summon with the way the card's name's first effect once per turn. You can only use that card's name's second effect once per. First part of it says you control a synchro monster, you special summon from your hand. Pretty good. And it's level 5. So the second part is when a synchro monster you control declares an attack, you can banish the card from your graveyard. That attacking monster gains 800 more attack. So free special summon. If this was a tuner, this would be even more insane, or if it could count as one, like as an effect. Still not useless effect. Next up, though, we have Burgundy the Magical Elf, which is a dark spellcaster effect, level 4 with 1600 attack, 1400 defense points, and it says you can only use this card's name first and second effects once per turn each. The first part is if a card or cards is discarded from your opponent's hand by a card effect while this card is in the monster zone, you can inflict 400 damage to your opponent for each card discarded. The only downside is that effect is only once per turn, so a burn for 400 is meh. If it was like consistent, right, then if we have like a Dark World, or what was that archetype called that would also discard? Fabled, that's what it was. Fabled, then you could have okay, I make this, and then, like, you know, you can GG your opponent, but like 400 burn damage is memes. What other deck discards like all their cards, other than maybe like card destruction? I mean, even if 5, like, it's an okay burn damage, but still not gonna make it game. Anyway, second part is when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can discard one random card from your opponent's hand. Okay, just don't use that against Dark Worlds. But next up, this is another V-Jump promo. Looks like a Bryanak. So this is Dragon Bryanak / Bryanak, the Dragon of Icy Malevolence. Okay, so what's the... Oh, it's going to be... It's just hyped up. Okay, so we do have some information on it, at least with the picture. Looks like it's a level 6, going to be a water. Okay, I'm guessing it's going to be Sea Serpent, but it's just kind of building up hype for cards. Sometimes they do this. I mean, the only way you make... Because it's the same level. I mean, if its effect is multiple times per turn, because remember, I think Bryanak can only use this effect like once per turn. Before, you could just like do combos and then be like, all right, Bryanak effect again. Back in the Diva Zombie days. Yo, anyone OG enough to remember Diva Zombies? Let me know in the comment section below. But we got Watt support, which is really random. All right, so I'm kind of interested in checking this out as well, because I messed around with Watts for a little bit. I remember Battery Man started getting some hype too, but Watt Tuna is a level 4 Light Thunder tuner. It's a tuner effect monster. 800, 700. It says you can only use the first and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. So the first part is, if your monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent at the end of this damage step, you can special summon it. So it's another 800 damage. And I believe one of the Watt cards attacks directly and searches out a card, right? So you can just instantly go for it. And then the third part of the effect is when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, you attribute it and one more non-tuner from your hand and or face up in the field. And if you do special summon 1 Watt synchro monster from your extra deck whose level equals the attributed monster's level. Okay, so the fact that I think is a Watt Giraffe lets you add one. I know there's one that lets you I think like what was the good ones like Watt Pheasant and Giraffe. That's all I remember from Watts. But basically if you could just OTK your opponent, because remember you just special summon this card for free, and on top of that it is a tuner, just synchro up with whatever already attacked, right? And then just make maybe this newer card over here. So we have the Wattaurus. So Wattaurus is a level 8 light thunder synchro effect monster, 1600 attack, 1700 defense, and requires a Watt tuner and 1 non-tuner thunder monster. It says you can only use the second effect of this card's name once per, so it can attack directly. So it's another 1600 points of damage on top of another 800 points of damage. And then it says when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, you get to shuffle 1 Watt tuner from your graveyard and 1 face-up one face-up thunder non-tuner you control into the deck, and if you do special summon Watt synchro monster from your extra deck except for Wattaurus. So basically, you just are straight up going to be able to attack. That's going to be pretty nasty potentially, because you just go through your opponent's entire board, because you just attack directly with everything. So you can activate maybe something that negates all of your opponent's monsters' effect and just attack them directly for game. That maybe is the new goal. But they got another support card up their sleeve called the Watt Kingdom. So it's a new continuous spell card that says you can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. So the first part is your opponent cannot activate the effects of any of their monsters' effect in the same column as this card. Okay, so basically you can shut down maybe 2 monsters and or one of your Watt monsters that activate when they are normal or special summon. Ooh. So you could actually block out multiple zones. You know what's weird is I was just mentioning you could just negate their effects, just attack directly from game. Wow, that could be pretty good. And the second part is you can target a Watt monster you control, and you can't special summon monster for the rest of the turn except for Thunder monsters. And then you can special summon Watt monster with a different name from your deck, and then you lose life points equal to summon monster's attack. Okay, this deck is going to definitely OTK, and on top of that, you get to just shut down something. Wow, I think Watts may be actually a pretty big threat, because remember, you just attack directly with a bunch of stuff. I think one of them searches out. You make this card, attack. You attack with Wattaurus. You tag him out. It almost makes me like Gladiator Beast stuff. But then now you shuffle the cards back into the deck, and then you just bring out another Watt Synchro. So yeah, it could be pretty nasty to run into this. This will be definitely something that might be a meme deck, a budget deck that rises to the top. Next up though, we have YuGiOh support. So this is like the reptiles that came out a while ago, and they were like popular for like a week, and then no one played them again. It was kind of like that. What was that? The mutants. Remember? You guys remember those? Like it was 1 week, and then no one played them. All right. Nephra Abyss, the YuGiOh deck Overlord. So it's a level 10 dark reptile effect monster, 2200 attack, 31 defense. Says you can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. First part is if a monster is sent from either player's hand or deck to the graveyard while this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon this monster, but you cannot special summon monsters until the end of the turn, except for reptile monsters. The second part says if this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you target 1 monster in your graveyard except for Nephra Abyss, the YuGiOh deck Overlord, and special summon it, and that's the effect. Next up, we have YuGiOh Dawn of Creation, which is a quick play spell card that says you can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. The first part is attribute a reptile monster you control for every 2 levels that monster had to special summon up to 1 YuGiOh token reptile dark level 2/0/0. You can banish this card from your graveyard during the main phase, and if you do, you can target 1 of your banished reptile monsters to shuffle that monster into the deck. Then you get to send 1 reptile monster from your deck to the graveyard. Okay, so remember, like I think it was like Snake's Reign shot up in price. I don't really remember this archetype, I'm gonna be honest. Is this going to make the archetype any good? You guys let me know down below. But what do you guys think of the brand new Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Let me know down below. I'm kind of actually excited to see if Watts are actually going to be able to OTK consistently. But anyways, brand new here. Hit subscribe, turn the bell so you don't miss out when we eventually draw the OTK of Watts, because it's definitely going to be a pretty easy thing to pull off. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.